Hello and welcome to another episode of Bold and Brown.
Yes, and we just want to say it's just the start of 2026 and not a happy new year, but a best new year to everyone.
Absolutely. This year, everyone, says this is going to be their year, this is going to be their time. But what are we actually going to do? And I think today's topic kind of covers, the kind of daily habits. And, daily habits can change, from as a person, maybe couple daily habits with children. I mean, we're going to go through it all. I'm excited because I think this is what really, I wouldn't say separates the winners from the losers, but it's kind of that theme which really separates, are we going to get stuff done? Or are we going to get excited for January? Then the rest of 11 months are going to be exactly how they've been, previously.
Exactly. And a lot of what we're going to talk about, to be honest, it's spiritual. It's a lot of spiritual success, which is so important because a lot of people think, well, I need to practically go out there and work in order to get the results. I need to do more shifts or I need to put in more hours. And that's right. But also, you need to remember that, most successful people say that 90 to 99% is the spiritual work, and that is your thinking, that's your feeling, that's your emotions, that's your desire, that's you visualizing what you want. And this is actually what aligns you to receiving what it is you really desire. So we're going to talk a lot about the spiritual stuff today.
Yeah, when you said do your shift, I thought you meant do your shit. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, we're not allowed to say that on
No,
this podcast.
exactly. I
was like,
meant
wow,
shift
do your-
in a job or whatever.
Good. I'm glad we clarified that.
Exactly.
Now let's get straight into it. So what's the first kind of habit? Maybe start from the
Start
morning.
with the morning,
Yeah, let's start
exactly.
morning routine. Now, there are some things which I do, and there's some things that Rupa does, and they're not the same because we're all individuals.
Exactly, yeah.
I think some things that Rupa does are, crazy.
And I think some things that he does is crazy, but you know what?
Not all things.
We accept it anyway.
Yeah.
And we go along.
So why don't you go through your morning habit? And look, first and foremost, when we say habit, well, I don't know about Rupert, I'm going to speak for myself. When I say habit, I'm not talking 365 days of the year. There are some days where I've had, a late night and the kids need to get to school and that's priority. And, I've had a late night and I can't meditate, for example. And unfortunately, those are times when it's missed. I'm talking about majority.
Exactly.
I love one. I don't know if you guys have seen The Secret, but there's a guy. If you haven't seen The Secret, first and foremost, please watch the documentary on YouTube or Netflix, I think. And if not, there's a book. I'm sure we got it back there. Read the book. There's a gentleman called Joe Vitale. Great guy. And I like what he says. It really resonates with me. He goes, look, there's a practice every day. But his disclaimer, this is exact words, his disclaimer is, if it becomes a chore, he's not a fan of that. And I believe that as well. Because if I have to do something out of a chore, like I have to do it, then the energy and the thinking is all wrong. And it's not going to be effective, in my opinion.
No, I absolutely agree. And, daily habits, it doesn't necessarily have to be at that time every single day, because remember, it shouldn't feel like a job, it shouldn't feel like a chore. And people's daily routine changes. We've obviously been off for Christmas holidays and so on, and so I've had a little bit of a nice lie-in while the kids are not having to get rushed to school in the morning. And so my daily habits were a little bit changed. The things that I used to maybe do in the morning, I was doing more in the evening and vice versa. So don't put so much pressure on yourself that, oh my God, I have to do it at this time on this day. It's great if you can stick to a routine, but then if you don't, you can do it anytime in the day. But it's important to just be consistent daily. Doesn't matter what time, but try and keep that consistency going.
Okay, so what would you do in the mornings?
Okay, so in the
I know
mornings...
what I'd like you to do, certain things.
Oh, let's not go into that one because that's something
That's
completely
very,
different.
very important
A topic for another day. I'm not a morning person, by the way. So the first thing that I really start my day off
Whoa,
with...
you're getting your book out.
I'm getting my book out.
She means business,
you
guys.
know,
She's
But my daily gratitude, I am so happy and grateful now, and writing the things that I see in the future, but saying it in the present tense. Now, as I said, with the school holidays and stuff, I started off with this like more in the evening, I was like, oh, let me do it like as a last thing at night, because I really want to go to bed having felt that gratitude, that emotion, and just being really, really grateful. And I love going to sleep on that kind of note. Whereas Vinay would end his day in a different way, I would end my day in a different day.
Very different.
But gratitude is the key for me. And this is me writing it down, first of all, on paper. Because, you know, if you're messaging it or you're writing it to yourself, it's not going to have the same effect of you actually writing it down. You start picturing it in your mind and then you read it out loud to yourself and feel that emotion. For me, I find that to work and I find it to be very, very powerful. And that's how I got my man, to be honest. Daily gratitude. And he just came into my life.
Talking about me, by the way. So I look, I'm a big believer. And, you know, some of my friends actually curse me. I'm going to show you something. Now, call me old school.
He's getting his book out now.
Well,
Diary.
mine is a physical diary. You know, I had a mentor and he said to me, get a diary. And he was actually using law of attraction. He goes, you feel like a businessman. And I got to say, I do. When I whip out the diary, when someone says, you know, come with me, I don't whip out my phone because, you know, a friend of mine says, why? We're in the 21st century. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, phone has many distractions. And, you know, there's social media on there, or there's a trading app, or there's like general messages, WhatsApp, you know, phone calls, messages, emails. I mean, it's just endless. So personally, I think writing it down is just, you know, and one of our great mentors, Kevin Trudeau, he is very much about writing things down and how many neural pathways and things that in your mind you have to, muscles that are moved to write things down. So Rupert, absolutely. She's writing things down. And he goes one step further, by the way. A white paper, no lines, with blue ink. Plain white paper, blue ink. Again, there's something psychological there. There's something energetic there. And hey, with these kind of leaders and experts in the field, we just follow. So I have a blue pen. And I specifically, unfortunately, this has got lines in it, but
It's a diary.
beggars can't be choosers. You know. It is a diary, but I have written. Oh, actually, I have written my goals in the open spaces. Where is it? Okay, do you know what? This is a new year. I haven't actually written them in here, but I've actually.
It's probably in your
I did
old one,
WhatsApp
yeah.
it to you. Writing down for me is a great thing to do, but not daily. Unfortunately, I find it a chore. I do write things down every now and again, but there's one thing I do. As soon as I wake up, first thing is this routine, and I don't think I ever break this routine because it's so easy. First thing I do is have water. Now, the water is a big metal bottle. I've got for Rupert as well. And I try and drink as much as I can. I used to drink almost a litre, but I used to, you know, chuck it down, which, you know, that's not good either. So I do sip, and I try and sip as much as I can. And then I immediately put on a personal self-development audio, whether it's an audio, whether it's affirmations for kids, or whether it's something I have to learn from my groups and societies and clubs that I'm in. I have to learn certain lines, which at the moment, for the past month, I've been putting that on immediately, loud. That is my routine to get me thinking right. So as soon as I've had my water, and there are other things, and again, if you've watched The Secret or Rhonda Byrne, her series, The Magic, one thing she does when you're going to the bathroom, the steps you take, make them gratitude steps. So each step is thank you. Thank you for everything. And by the time you get to your bathroom, brush your teeth, come back, you've been super grateful. You probably said thank you, like, you know, whatever. Depends how big your house is and how far your bathroom is, really. But, you know, you've been very thankful. So that's my morning one.
Another thing I've got to say he's very, very good at doing, and look, this is, I wouldn't say it's the spiritual part, but it's actually to do with health. And it is so, so important. And, you know, I go along with it, but I realize, like, how massive like health is in terms of even how you think, right? What you put inside you, the energy you have inside you, you know, I mean, Vinay can go into more detail of that, but it really helps you along the rest of your day, your weeks, your months, because you want to always be on high energy. You want to always have clear thinking. You know, you don't want to have all these stomach problems and gut issues and feeling sluggish and fatigue. And so what you actually put in you is very important. And, you know, that's one of his big rituals.
Yeah, I mean, this is non-negotiable. There is no, I mean, it would also take a miracle for me to not have my vitamins and minerals and my protein shake. Now, it's the new year, so we are starting our, let's say, 2 to 3 month, 90-day cleanse. We do it every year. We follow. I've actually, you know, I went a bit crazy, and I I can see actually in the back of this wall, which you can't see, but the camera is facing this way. But behind there is a 30-day of things to do just to stay in, excellent health. And I've printed them. I put them around the house, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. Me and the kids play a game. We've got to find it, when I first put it up. Why? Because that is so important. Because what we put into our bodies affects the way we think and feel, and it affects the power in which we attract things. Now, whether or not you believe that, that's up to you. But the health issues is one, but the other side of it is your power to attract. Now, if you're putting in fast food and garbage and excessive amounts of bad food and drink, it's going to affect your thinking, and we all know that. How does someone feel when they have McDonald's?
Sluggish.
You feel sluggish afterwards, and it's. I don't want to go into detail about conspiracy, but they put something in food like McDonald's and other things to make you crave it, make you want it. There's a film called Super Size Me, which I actually haven't seen, but I've been told to see. We need to see that. So now Rupa, I make sure that because I'm good at that. So I make sure I'm getting her vitamins ready, mine ready, and we have it together. And we do this every year. So that is so after the water, the audios, then we have affirmations for kids, which I put in once I bring the kids to our room. We play the affirmations for kids. They love it. They repeat it. And then we go straight downstairs. I have a double espresso, or in the mornings I do. And again, there's a period where for 2-3 months I was having lemon juice freshly squeezed, apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, and Rupa's having it. It's not easy, but I was having it.
You're a soldier. But you know what? For health, for how you feel, for how your day goes, like, it's worth starting off great. Another thing that I will mention as well is kind of doing things together is really important. I wouldn't say so much of a daily habit because, your routines are different. Sometimes there'll be days that I haven't even seen Vinay, believe it or not, and we live in the same house, we sleep in the same bed, but there'll be days that, he's off early first thing in the morning and he's back really late at night because of his law business. And the same for me, like, I might be going to events, I might be away. And so it's important that we still stay connected in a sense with regards to what we want. And this is when we start looking at events, we start looking at places that we can go, meetings that we can attend together, networking events, international events. And we're always trying to book at least 2 or 3 in a month where we can do together. And that really is part of a routine because we need to plug ourselves into something to keep our battery going as well. We're just human, right? So this is important.
I mean, we got a goal already, this year. We've got young children, and before we were traveling every other month minimum. And now with the kids, obviously priorities change a little bit. We're traveling less, but we have put down a goal, at least 2 to 3 international conventions. Not holidays. We've got a few booked holidays with the kids, so that's family time. We'll still do that every other month or every couple of months, but a personal self-development of it, international, is crucial. Not going back home after an event. So we've just this morning I put an event in the diary, networking event. We're going to be taking turns sometimes with the children, but doing that together. And also, I think one of them is also every month is to just expand your mind by visiting that Lamborghini, Bentley showroom, Rolls-Royce showroom, the cars that we want to one day buy, that we will buy, the houses that we want, and we will do that together if we can. If not, sometimes we have to do it with other friends or family.
And here's my Lamborghini notebook, just so you know. I left my pen upstairs.
Lamborghini's up there as well. You can see it everywhere.
And I've got my Bentley pen that I use. So even if you're going to these places, to these showrooms, and of course you don't have the intention right now of buying anything, get yourself a big piece of merchandise. Like, it's just such an amazing feeling. Like, take something from there which you can take back and be like, oh, this is going to be my future. This is my future. Like, this is now. And it's all about the feeling. So you have to create these moments, and you have to create time to have these moments, whether it's together, whether it's yourself. It's so important for your vibration.
Another daily habit, I suppose, I don't know if it's daily, but if you look in our study right now, you can see quotes, you can see pictures. I mean, looking now, I've got these quotes here. I mean, literally every... I mean, we've gone a bit crazy on the study, yes. In the house, we want to keep it a house as well. We want to make it... But we have got quotes. We've got different pictures of calmness, kind of feng shui. Feng shui or feng shui?
Feng shui.
Feng shui the whole house out. Whether that's a daily habit, that's just a choice of doing it. And, whoever comes to a house, I'm like, very positive, energetic because there's quotes everywhere of, things that how we should think, how we should be. That's very helpful. I mean, even down to the tissue boxes that we have
Literally.
quotes on them.
Yeah.
So that's another. Well, it's a habit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
making a choice, conscious
Yeah.
choice, to be surrounded
Yeah.
by the things that you want, not what you don't want. And I've got a picture of my grandparents here, and every time I look at it, I feel inspired. And I was telling the kids, and I was practicing my lines. I was talking to them, and I was telling my kids that, look, you got grandparents, my parents, and these are my grandparents. And they were like, oh, really? Where are they? Have they gone to heaven? I got they've gone to heaven. Yes.
Exactly. And let's talk about another habit is maybe in terms of finance, like how you might be spending, or where you might decide to invest your money. And these are things that we think about like daily, and it wasn't when we started having money we were thinking about it. We were thinking about it before we had the money. Like, what are we going to do? We used to write down, okay, when we are earning this much, not if, we used to write down when we are earning this much a month as an income, what are we going to do with it? And this is something that I actually regularly used to look at in my notes on my phone. I used to look at it and be like, oh yeah, so I'm going to be spending this much on, self-care. I'm going to be spending this much, I'm going to give away to charity. We're going to be doing this for investment, into real estate or whatever. This is going to go back into our own business, and it's so important for you to also think about now, whatever money you wish to have in the future, or wherever you see yourself being financially, start spending that money, mentally. And then trust me, it will come a time, believe me, that you're going to physically start doing it. And I can say that because we used to write down, well, I can speak for myself. I used to write down years ago in my gratitude that I'm so happy and grateful now we have properties abroad. I didn't know where that abroad was. I didn't know what kind of properties. And around this time last year, we actually had purchased 3 properties in Dubai. And we're just like, wow, things that I was writing, where I'm spending my money, we're now actually doing it. So financial, spiritual, I don't know what you call it, but this is very important part of daily routine as well.
I mean, it's about how your money comes in and what you do with it, and it's a mindset. And I remember, like Rupert said, in the beginning, when we had no money, or we had very little money coming in, we used to say, right, okay, 10%, you pay yourself first. That's your money, your fund money, whatever. 20% reinvest back into your business, or personal self-development if you haven't got a business, if you don't have to have a business. And then things like 10% to charity. In our house, a lot of money goes to Rupert's charity, a lot more than 10%.
It should.
That could be a whole new audio.
And that's why we have abundance.
Yeah, so abundance. And then things
living
like
expenses.
Oh yeah, living expenses 25%, maybe it's 30%. And then if you look at it, it's too much. I remember Kevin Trudeau saying, well, then you got to sort that out. Maybe you're living in an area, or you're driving in cars and transports
Above
that you
your
shouldn't.
means.
Yeah, maybe you're having too many fine dining lunches, which I would never give up, by the way. Fine dining lunches. You spend all the money on a lunch rather than, I try and save on a parking £2, but I spend £25 on a lunch.
Yes, frustrating for me. I'm like, I'm not walking 10 minutes in these heels. We're parking somewhere and paying money.
These are things that are really crucial. And, I'm thinking, today, fortunately, the position we're in, I think most of our money gets saved generally. And, it's in the beginning having it, but now you're looking to save money, and then now not saving money, but what's that money doing? It's not going to be sitting in the bank doing nothing.
Exactly.
Are we investing it? So, fortunately and thankfully, we've got it in properties. We've got it in different properties. Here around Broad, we've got it in trading accounts. We've got it in, things that we're going to do to, other investments that we have on the horizon. So I think having that discipline of what is your money going to do when it comes. And if you haven't got what you want right now, what are you currently doing with the money that's coming in? How are you dissecting, or are you just chucking it in one account and just spending it all? And I remember, for like decades, money come in, it used to go out straight away. Most of it used to go in my car. I used to drive a car that I couldn't afford. The fuel was, I used to do things to it, and that was a bad
probably
decision.
most people, isn't it? Well, I don't know. I've got to say that my middle brother, like Damien, he's probably the most sensible one when it came to spending. Myself and my youngest brother, like Amit, we're just just used to spend like crazy.
No name dropping.
Yeah, not name dropping, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe he got that habit from me. And my dad's the same. Like, my mom will even say to this day, whatever's in his account, he'll spend it until the money comes in again. But my mum, man, she's a saver. Like, she would walk an additional 10, 15 minutes to save a couple of quid. Like, you know, and this is how she's actually become really, like, I wouldn't say wealthy, but like they're never struggling.
They're Kenyan
So-
Indian, by the way, and I think Kenyan, they're sharp.
Very sharp. So definitely, I think, you know, if you were at that position where you were, you know, spending without thinking, it's fine, it's normal. Like, we've all done that. You know, you want to get out your system, you want to enjoy the perks of your hard work, your hard labor. But now you got to start thinking, if you want to keep on attracting more money to you, what are you doing with it? How are you spending it? How are you changing someone else's situation with it? Like, what good are you doing with the money that you're spending? Because if you don't treat it with respect, it's just never going to come to you. So this is something that I learned, like, quite probably later on in life, but I'm glad that we did.
So another habit is screen time. You know, screen, mobile, tablets, TV, whatever. You know, you sit in your car in front of a screen nowadays, at a sat nav or whatever it is, and you know that is again something which with the kids is not easy. They're young, they want their screen, you know, all the time, and you know we have to have discipline. We say no, you can do it this, you can have it now for half an hour. 1 hour break. Why don't we watch a movie together? You know, you're far away, you're with the family, we're bonding a bit more. Yesterday was a great day. We went out for a walk, for quite a long walk. Then we took them to, you know, have coffee, went shopping for a little bit, you know, get his hair cut, which we didn't get. But, you know, getting them away, you know, and doing the things that we thankfully live in a village. We've got parks close by, but it's very cold here. We're in the minus at the moment. But screen time, limiting that screen time is a habit, and it needs to be because of what, you know, thankfully we on our devices, we've got the e-smog, which I'm currently wearing now as well in my religious grunty, by the way. You know, these devices on our mobile phones and you know, laptops.
So
on my
important.
laptop, yeah, it helps to kind of, it helps that little bit to capture all those, that e-smog, which is around the air, the Wi-Fi, the screen right now, the lights here and everything. So again, is it a daily habit? I think it is a daily habit.
I think it is, because at the end of the day, the more radiation and like low vibration stuff you have going into your mind, it really affects your thinking. It affects your ability to focus, to concentrate. And this is actually like, it's like a ripple effect to everything else that you do in your day, what's going to come, the kind of productivity you have in your day, in your week, in your month. So making these small changes, and listen, it feels like a chore for a lot of people. You might be sitting on this podcast or, you know, a video and thinking, oh my God, all these things, there's so many changes to make. Well, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Like, if you are not happy with the situation you're in, something has to change, right? So if it means doing these small little things to get a bigger result, like, is it not worth it? I remember Jim Rohn once said, you know, people, I don't know if it was Jim Rohn or someone else, he said people actually don't put any value on things that come for free. You know, thoughts, emotions, feelings, you know, all these things that come for free. We think, oh, well, you know, who cares about that? It's not really important. We don't have to do all this. But we value the things that cost money. That's really the crazy thing. So really think about that and value spiritual stuff.
I mean, Brian Tracy speaks about, you know, how, I forgot how the quote goes, but he goes, people are into method pleasing rather than results achieving, or something along those lines, where you're more looking at how is this process making me feel, like going to the gym or having those vitamins. Sometimes they say to you, the taste of it is annoying, or it's too big to swallow, whatever. I'm like, what about the way it's going to do for you? Why don't you focus on that? Because then the method becomes very easy. It's not the how, it's the why. Why are you doing something? So discipline versus motivation. Motivation doesn't last. Discipline lasts. Motivation, you're up and down. So when you're motivated, you write some disciplines down. That's the best time to do it. And you know, I love what Kevin Trudeau says, set the rules up so that you win. Set the game up so you give yourself little wins, create momentum. The little small wins, so put the rules in your favor. It could be, I don't know, you know, right now, you know, I remember, you know, when I used to, you know, have a rule where, you know, I'd eat great food and, you know, for the weekend, you know, I could eat whatever. That'd be my treat. So that was my win. And I remember I met a PT, he goes, you can't do that. He goes, that ain't going to work. He said, have one day. And I was all right, cool, one day. Now, thankfully, I don't have any days like that. I have a meal. I have cheap meals. I don't believe in cheat days because then all day, I have a cheap meal. So, after this podcast, I'm looking for sweet potato. I'm looking for avocado, halloumi. I'm looking for feta. I'm vegetarian, so I'm trying to get, the good fats, the protein that I can from, good sources, or less processed food. Fortunately, processed food is quite high these days for vegetarians. So, it's a habit of choosing the right food as much as you can. And, we'll go to that McDonald's and have that breakfast, which we had, the other day, and we enjoyed it.
The best.
One of the rules on there is when you cheat, don't feel bad about it. When you have that bad food, you deserve it. You earned it. Otherwise, the law of attraction will work against you.
Exactly.
So what choice is, discipline and writing out discipline that you win.
Absolutely. I think we've covered quite a lot today, unless there's anything else you want to touch upon.
Maybe like habits that didn't work. I mean, like I said to you, one of them was writing every day in your gratitude or journal. So I just find that difficult to do. I don't know what it is. When I'm writing, it becomes a chore and my heart's not really in it. But what I do is with the kids, and sometimes we don't because the kids might be too tired or whatever, it's getting late. But 95% of the time, or 99% of the time, we have this Tibetan bowl, which again, energetic, releases sound, sound vibration. And we bang on that gong and we do our routine, and we do a 3-step routine. It was 4-step, but the kids don't like the 4th one. I'll go through it in a minute. Number 1 is recognizing a higher and stronger power. Whether or not you believe in God, you can be atheist and a higher power. It can be a higher power or God. We're religious, we're spiritual, we're going to believe in God. So we talk about the power of God. Because if you don't believe that he has power, then there's an audio which I recommend. Kevin Trudeau is how to pray, and he goes through it, recognizing God's power, praising God and giving God praise. That's what religious texts do, right? Number 2 is blessing people around you. Now, it's really important, blessing people who you think have done you wrong. Your enemies, for example. Blessing those people is crucial because as is in the Bible, how can God bless you if you don't, how can God forgive you if you don't forgive others?
Yeah.
So number 2 is that. Number 3 is 3 things that you're grateful for today. And we go through those 3 things. And number 4 is actually 3 things that you're aiming or your goal is. But the kids are not really into that at the moment.
Yeah.
So we do that 3-step program without fail every night. We did it last night. We'll do it again if we can.
And I think that's so powerful, especially it holds you accountable when you know that you're doing something with the kids daily. It holds you accountable to getting it done as well. And one other thing, actually, before we close off or add anything else, I do my prayer every single night. And I do it in my mind, I do it to myself. And because I've been doing it for so long, it's become a habit. And like Vinay said, it's a prayer, not to say, oh God, please give me this and please give me that. It's a prayer of gratitude. It's a prayer to give thank you back for everything that we have. And you can be very specific in the details. And yes, if you want to ask for something, but ask for something after you've given the thank you and the gratitude first. And that's basically how I do it. But everyone prays in different ways.
Exactly, guys. I don't beg for it, right? Because I just I accept it. It's coming. It's here already.
He tries to use law of attraction on me all the time with a specific topic.
Every day, baby.
I don't know what he's put in these pills of mine that he's giving me every morning as well. So
colon cleanse, chronic cleanse, liver cleanse. What else we got there? We got ashwagandha. We got good stuff. The stuff that like black peppers in. Some of the stuff
turmeric
that we take, turmeric, it's good stuff. Apple cider vinegar, it's good stuff to get that fat away.
Let's go.
We're
starting the year strong, and we want you to start yours strong.
Yeah, starting the year strong to end it strong, and
exactly.
Nothing changes. If you don't make any changes, then nothing's going to change. And it can be with something so small. I mean, oh my God, one of the things that my God, it's a habit now, but I don't even think about it, is in the car. Music is a rare. We love music, Bhangra, R&B, rapid pop, Hindi music I love, but classical music, I like all kinds of music, but there are my main. But you get in my car, the car, as soon as you get in it, there's an audio playing, because it's on, whatever, it's on the memory. That's a habit, and that habit is now, it's not even a habit because it's so effortless.
And the thing is, the times that we do have music on in the car is probably when we have people in the car with us.
Yeah.
Because we don't want them to feel like we're trying to, I don't know,
Brainwash
just
them.
brainwash them, or like, oh,
Well,
they're
we
gonna
are, but-
they're gonna hate driving with us and all that. That's really one of the even. I mean, I remember they did a journey to South London from where we are, and in total it was like a 2.5 hour journey both ways. So a 5 hours journey in one day I did in the car, and the whole time I was just hooked to Kevin Trudeau. And I think for me now, I get that kind of sense of like I feel guilty if I'm just listening to music. I mean, yes, we can listen to music, but for a short period of time. You know, when you feel like you can't focus on anything, you can't concentrate, like, you know, your mind is occupied, fine. You know, I love classical music and we just would love sitting there listening to something that feels good still. That's really important that the music you listen to makes you feel good. And so, you know, when I do play the odd music, it's going to be like the garage or like, you know, some deep house, you know, Ibiza, which is something I've started to get into now.
Deep house. You hear that? I don't know about house, but always just doom, 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 just noise.
But you know,
I don't know what the music is.
it gets your energy flowing, and that's important. But
It
listen,
gives me a headache.
like words, things that you listen to, it goes into your subconscious. You know, especially when you put things on repeat, you hear it over and over and over and over again. This is really the key thing. Not listening to an audio once and being like, oh, I've already heard that.
No.
Like, study the words coming out of these people's mouths. If you don't have the success that that person has, why would you not want to learn from them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes? So this is our thinking.
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't know who said it. I think me and you were talking about something, and I said to you something, I know. Well, there's a quote,
Yeah.
you know, Kevin Trudeau says about a guy called Leo Biscaglia. Or Biscaglia? Leo Biscaglia.
Yeah.
To know and not to do
Is
is
not to know.
So, again, also, I'm just thinking other habits as well. If I put the TV on, most of the time, it'll be a documentary. I love, guys, if you haven't seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger 3-part documentary, I've seen it probably more than 20 times now. I'll have it in the background while I'm doing something. It's just so inspiring. Maybe because I grew up with these movies. You know, you got the Stallone documentary, which is great as well. With the Eddie Murphy recent documentary come out. You know, there's other, you know, scholars and people who have made an impact in, you know, in society. Why wouldn't you listen to their audios or read their books? I just ordered a book from what's his name? Gopal Das. I forgot his name now, but I just ordered his book because I listened to a podcast. And yeah, it's just a habit. I mean, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of reading, but keeping a book with me, you know, is one discipline I could do. Let me keep the book with me in my briefcase, in my bag. It's with me. There's more chances of me reading it.
Yeah.
Guys, what are your daily habits? Put them in the comments. Maybe you have a daily habit that you've implemented. Maybe you could recommend to somebody else. We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. And until next time, guys, have an amazing day and keep focused on your goals.
Great. Take care. Bye-bye.